Many professionals believe that if they are qualified, they should naturally get interviews, but today's hiring market does not always work that way. People are being evaluated through systems, filters, keywords, recruiter, assumptions, hiring manager expectations, LinkedIn visibility, and how clearly they communicate business impact. So today, we are going to talk about why strong professionals still get overlooked, how career positioning has changed, what recruiters and hiring teams really look for, and how AI can help candidates and career coaches create more strategic, visible, and effective job search. Welcome to another edition of the Smart Office Podcast. I am your host, Hippolyte Asa. I am an AI implementation engineer. I help small businesses use practical AI systems to improve operations, client experience, and growth. Today, I am excited to welcome Anum Khan Siddiqui, founder and CEO of Elevate Your Career Coaching. Anum is a career strategist and former recruiting leader who helps professionals reposition themselves, strengthen their career story, improve visibility, and move towards leadership opportunities. Through Elevate Your Career and her Fast Track 20 program, she helps professionals gain clarity, access their skills, and identify in-demand opportunities and target the right companies. Anum, welcome to the Smart Office Podcast.
Thank you for having me.
So, Anum, it was quite interesting. I was interested in your work because of your niche of what you talk about, something many professionals experience but do not always understand. They are super qualified. They are capable. They have the experience, but they keep hitting this brick wall, no interviews, but still traction in the market is like close to zero. They are almost at the point where they are thinking like, what's happening, right? This is painful because people often assume the answer to apply more, write the resumes again, or keep pushing. But your message seems to be that the real issue is often positioning, visibility, market alignment, and how clearly someone communicates their value. So
Yep.
how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Good. I'm glad to have you here. And I
Thank
think
you.
this conversation will be very, very valuable for a lot of people, professionals, experienced people, executives who've been in their job for like forever, job seekers, anybody looking for a job, recruiters as well.
Yep.
We're not keeping out recruiters, hiring managers, career coaches who want to understand how hiring and career strategies have changed. So you're going to give us a lot there. This episode is really packed with a lot of information.
I'm excited because this
Yeah.
is what I'm passionate about. So let's do it.
That's what I see. For everyone listening to today's conversation, we'll really focus on a few things like why qualified professionals still get rejected or ignored in today's market, right? And how career positioning. Anum is an expert. She's going to talk about all that recruiting, screening logic. And a lot of job seekers are out there. They're certainly going to like listening now and thinking like, okay, this is interesting, right? So Anum, let's start with your story, right?
Yep.
Before we even get into career strategy and technology, how can you share your story? What led you from recruiting and talent work to career coaching?
Yeah, absolutely. It's an interesting story, but one that I'm really passionate about because it's brought me to where I am today. And so, I am somebody who was in corporate America for over a decade. Started my career in New York City where I was just a technical recruiter. And essentially I was placing professionals. My niche is technology, but I've also worked with non-technology folks as well. But I started my career in the staffing agency side. So essentially I was a tech recruiter and an account manager, and I was placing professionals at large institutions like Morgan Stanley, Citibank, you name it, all the large institutions in New York City were basically my clients. And
Wow.
it was my job to not only find people, but also place those folks at those companies. So
Right.
my career was really heavy on the staffing agency side when I started, but then I transitioned over the years to in-house recruiting.
Okay.
So Business Insider, being one of my clients at the time, had a position open. I started contracting there with them, and within 2 months, I had a full-time opportunity there. And I grew their team from pretty much the ground up. The current CTO at Business Insider is someone that I hired. The current CTO at CNN now is somebody that I built out that entire tech and product team with. So essentially, I've seen everything that happens on the back end, from a recruiting standpoint, from a hiring standpoint. I've implemented 4 applicant tracking systems across, in my career. I've done them alone, I've done them with teams. So I kind of really get to see what's happening on the back end, stuff that professionals who are applying to positions don't really necessarily get to see all the time.
Wow.
It's information that's hidden, I'd call it. The
Wow.
golden gems that I'm hiding
Right.
in my brain.
Right. So, what problem did you keep seeing with strong professionals that made you believe Elevate Your Career needed to exist?
So essentially, I think it was kept seeing that it's almost like a calling, I would say, because I'm
Right.
so passionate about this work. Done the corporate America thing for so long, and I see where the gaps are when professionals, I started to kind of, once I left Business Insider, I really started to think about what is it that I want to do, and also kind of understand that the market is really brutal. There is so much happening. Our unemployment rate right now is a 4.4. And what
Right.
that means is it's still growing. What that means is that there are so many great professionals out there, but the competition is just as
Hi.
fierce, right? And so it's almost like I wanted to be able to give professionals, let's say, an address that they could put into their navigation and drive
Mhm.
straight on forward to, versus trying to figure out how to do all of this stuff on their own that I don't think is really taught anywhere. I
Right.
don't think that how you enter corporate America and how it actually works and what
Right.
growth looks like and how to interview and how to network and how to, analyze yourself in a market. I don't think that there's just, yeah, you could go to Chat GPT, you could go to Claude, you could go to AI now, but that personal touch of real life experience I
Right.
felt was really starting to be, it's missing, right? And everyone's going in the same direction that maybe AI is telling them to go in, but there's a lot that happens behind the scenes that people don't get to see, and people don't get to really understand how it works, and they're guessing, right? And I wanted the guessing to stop. I wanted to
Right.
give people a tangible, step by step strategy and a process that they could go and follow and get those results on their own. Essentially, that was my biggest goal, was how can I make something that's going to be customized for all individuals that are struggling right now. Because when you ask people what is the most important thing in your life, they tell you my family. And then when you ask them what's the second most important thing in your life, they say my career, how I put food on the table.
Of course. Yeah.
And it's interesting to hear because most of those same people don't quite have a career strategy or a
Right.
roadmap, a way that they're really headed, because they're just sort of tangled up into the day to day stuff.
So, let's say when somebody hears the name Elevate Your Career, what do you want them to understand about your approach? What is the focus more on clarity, or is it on positioning? I like confidence building, job search strategy. I can continue naming
Yeah,
on
I'll
and
tell
on,
you.
but
I'm
again,
not going to
you
hide
just
it. I'll tell you all of it. I'll tell you all of it. So, what it is it's a place to have it all in one place. I
right,
didn't want, I don't, I, it's like I wanted to think of a domino effect.
right,
I basically, what I do is essentially in my program, I teach you how to understand. I have 6 broken down steps that I go through that are essential in the process of, whether you're looking for a new job, whether you're looking to transition, whether you're looking to stay at the company that you're currently at and grow within that company. It's really focused on getting you from understanding where you are today to
right.
negotiations in a step by step process that I'll sort of walk through just to kind of give you an understanding of how it works. So, essentially, the first thing that we do is we understand what is your current situation, where are you today, what is, are you currently working? Are you currently not working? Are you looking to move up? What does that look like? Because a lot of people don't always know exactly what their current situation is. You'd be surprised how many people are actually just confused about that. So the first things first is that we need to get really clear on what their current situation is, where they're
Mhm.
trying to get to, what those goals look like, what is the ideal result going to be. And once we understand your foundation and what your goals are and where you're trying to get to, then after that, I do something that's a little bit different than most people. And I do what's called a skill assessment and a market analysis.
Okay.
Okay. And I do it in a very specific way based on how I think is the right way, and it's customized to every individual that comes into my program. And the way that it works is I take sort of an audit of your skills to understand what are your skills, where are your skills, all the work that you've done up until this point. We understand
Mm.
what those skills are. We take an audit of those skills. And then we do what's called a market analysis. And the reason I do that is because I want to understand how are your skills aligning against the market and
Right.
how are they aligning against the market demand. So this is where it gets really interesting, is that people can always say, I'm making $100,000 a year now, but I'm looking to make 150,000. And great, you should be looking to make more money,
More
right?
money. Yeah.
But we need to understand, where are you in the market, and how are your skills, being I mean, basically, I analyze what the demand is, right?
Demand
And
is
once
here.
I understand where the demand is, where your skills are, and where the demand is, that assessment sort of, we do what's called a gap analysis to
Okay.
understand where are the gaps, if any at all. Some people have them, some people don't. Some people think they do, but they don't. Some people are ahead of the game, and some people not so much. So it just
Right.
depends on what that sort of happens. But it's kind of like understanding your current situation, understanding what the reality is when we run
Right.
that market analysis, and understand where the demand is. Now, we need to understand where the demand is so that you can position yourself when it comes to all of your material, as I call it, your career material, right? Your resume, your LinkedIn,
Right.
your GitHub, your cover letter, all of the material that you present. How does that actually get positioned? And that's basically the next step once I advise on upskill, if there is any. So once we run the market analysis, we do what's called like a 30, 60, 90 on an upskill plan. And then after that, we go into optimizing all of your material in the way that a recruiter like myself in the past, or a hiring manager like myself in the past, would actually look at it, because we only look at those resumes for 7 seconds or less, right?
Yeah.
And
Okay. Just
my
like, okay, this, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
exactly.
it.
So my goal is, how am I going to position my client so that when a recruiter gets to look at the resume, and the argument is, well, how do I get my resume into the hands of a recruiter?
Hence, okay.
And that's a conversation about how you're optimizing your material and how you're actually positioning yourself again. And then once that happens, and your resume does get picked up, you have 7 seconds to convince the recruiter or the hiring manager or less that you should be going to the next step. And
Yeah.
so basically what we do is we position all of your material to tell your story in a way that you've made an impact at each place that you've been in. And it's really hard with AI around now to be able to tell your story, because a lot of times people are just copy pasting what's in
Pasting left and
ChatGPT
right.
and putting it on their resume, and the reality is that recruiters know when that's happening.
Right.
Now they know when that's happening. And so you have to really sort of be able to position yourself, tell your story, so that you get put into the next pile of, all right, I'm going to push this person to the interview stage, right?
Somebody said AI has made all resumes just same. There's no, like, you can't distinguish resumes anymore. So you have to position yourself in a different way. So what are some of the most common reasons, because you talk about professionals who are qualified but still not moving forward, what are some of the most common reasons why strong candidates get rejected or just ignored? Like they don't even exist. It's frustrating when a professional like sending resumes, and somebody's like, it looks like his or her skills have become obsolete.
So most of the time, it's usually because there's no strategy. So
Right.
most of the time, it's just blindly applying to every single position you see pop up on LinkedIn, or you're like, I'm going to LinkedIn, I'm doing everything that I can, right? But then I come back to my program again, where after we do the positioning part of it, we're optimizing all your material, networking becomes a huge part of this whole process as well. There are a couple things that need to be happening simultaneously in order for the results or people who are, stuck to be unstuck. And applying blindly and making that mistake of not having a strategy for your LinkedIn, your personal branding, your value proposition, not having a story to tell and like almost market yourself in that way. When people aren't really sure on how to do that, they're just guessing and they're throwing as many paper at the wall as they can to see what will stick because yeah, so that's a
That's a good one.
one of the things that's important is that building a strategy, building a networking strategy, building a application strategy. For example, I teach how to, I teach a networking strategy where we do a lot of company targeting and
Right.
relationship building, and people tell me they're networking all the time. But the problem is that they're not networking with a clear strategy. They are just networking with who they think they should be networking with, but they don't really quite know who or why. So in my program, I teach, these are the people you should be targeting, and this
Mhm.
is the messaging that you should be sort of thinking about. Here is the mindset that you should have when it comes to networking. So built a networking strategy. I've also built an application strategy, which sort of goes hand in hand together to be able to get those results. So if you're blindly applying and you're not networking with a actual goal in front of you or some sort of a strategy, then you're just sort of spinning in that same circle over and over again and then, getting stuck.
Yeah. So you talked about how you throw papers at the wall and hoping anything can stick, right? Hoping something's going to stick. What do hiring teams and recruiters notice in the first few seconds that candidates often underestimate? Like, okay, pick a resume. What do they notice? The first thing that either they're going to make a decision.
So, first things first is that people think that, this is an argument I've had on LinkedIn a couple times where how can you tell me recruiters are only looking at my resume for like 5 seconds? That's
Yeah.
just not enough, that's not enough time. Or the arguments are, about the fact that how can they make a decision so quickly? Now, on my side, like if you see what's happening right now, right? Every job that opens up is getting like hundreds of applications.
Exactly. 200.
So from a recruiting standpoint, things need to move quicker. They
Quickly,
can't just
yeah. The
they
hiring
can't
manager wants somebody immediately. You have
exactly.
200 resumes. You have to send in only 2 candidates.
Yes, exactly.
He doesn't want to interview 100 candidates. He wants to interview 2 or 3. And
Exactly.
you have to figure out among these 100, which one should I send to the hiring manager? So, walk us through the process.
So the way that it happens, first of all, the applicant tracking system is also a big misconception that it's become this like AI bot and it's just gonna, yes, people are getting rejected as soon as they apply at 11 o'clock, at 9 o'clock PM. And I know that that's, been the argument. Well, how can you say that my resume is ever gonna get to a person? But the reality that I'll share with you and a little golden nugget on the back end, because I've implemented these applicant tracking systems, is that there's no fancy, crazy bot back there. These are all, integrations and things that the recruiters and the hiring and the HR team have implemented into the applicant tracking system. So if you're getting a rejection immediately, your resume isn't even parsing through the right way, right? It's not even from a formatting standpoint,
Mhm.
there are certain things that we see on our end when the resume gets pulled up, right? So it's if they're asking prerequisite questions, like take your time and actually answer those things because they're
Yeah.
they're going to look at that stuff. They're doing that so they could like narrow down the amount of people that they're going to look at, right? So yes, you're getting those automatic rejections that, a greenhouse or applicant tracking system is sending you back immediately, but there's more to it that happens, right? recruiters are not going to be reading every single line of your resume. So that is one thing that you have to understand, the way that you position yourself. And when I keep talking about positioning, I'm talking about when I'm look at a resume, in the first 5 seconds, I should be able to understand what you do, how you've accomplished what you've accomplished, what are the impacts that you've made at the companies you've made them at. And essentially what happens is we look at it in a quick snapshot, yes, but we get a pretty good picture of what you're telling us because we look at so many resumes all the time that it's like up on to the next one, on to the next one. And it is really important for professionals to know their positioning and be able to tell their story and show their impact to a hiring manager or a recruiter in less than 5 seconds. And it's
Yeah,
hard to do that
that's
because it's hard to do that when you don't know how.
you don't know how. You're right. So let's talk about your Fast Track 20 program. That's an interesting program right there for professionals. So Fast Track program focuses on helping professionals gain clarity, access skills, identify in-demand opportunities, and target ideal companies. Why does clarity have to come before applications?
So people think the first step is to start update their resume and start applying. And
Right.
to be honest with you, that's like the fourth step in my program.
Yeah.
We don't even look at the resume yet until I'm crystal clear on that clarity piece. I
Right.
understand what the goal is, where someone's trying to go. If someone is like, I want to go to Fang, that is a goal of theirs. That is what their mission is out to go get. So I have clients who have specific goals that they want to achieve, right? And based on those, it's like a domino effect. So me jumping to start optimizing a resume before I know what are their goals and how far are they from their goals in reality when we do the market analysis and the skill audit and understand what the demand is. So I always ask my clients, would you rather know or would you rather stay
Mhm.
blindfolded to what the reality is? And most people say, of course, I want to know. I want to understand what I need to do to get to the next level. And so that is the first thing, is get crystal clear on, their where they sit today, what are their goals. The entire program it's made on a way where people are like, well, I'm a very junior level person, and
Right.
I'm a senior level person. How is it going to, how can you do that for everyone? And so that was a big question for what I wanted to provide, is I wanted to give people a tangible like roadmap that they've never created, that they don't have. Like I mentioned, most people don't have a plan usually, but when you when I give them that roadmap or that workbook essentially becomes their 1 to 5 year career roadmap that gets customized based on their skills, gets customized based on how their skills are aligned with the market demand. And we continue on with that. Then we position their material. Then based on their first, their goals, then we go into networking and company targeting and applications and how to prepare for interviews. And it goes all the way down to negotiations.
So elevate your career positions Fast Track 20 around helping professionals land executive roles and secure salaries 20% higher than before. What usually has to change for someone to move into higher paying roles?
So I'll give you an example of, let's just say, a current client, and who's wanting to go up to the next level. I have a client who's at Apple currently, who's been there for 15 years, but has seen people come and go and has made transitions up the chain and is now making 4 or 5, 600,000 a year. And this person feels like, they've been sort of stuck where they are and they're not sure why. Fast Track 20 will break that all down for us to understand what is holding this person back from getting to that next level. And essentially, it's the same steps that we take to know what that looks like. And a lot of times people ask me, well, how can I get that increase, or negotiations not, maybe it's even dead because they showed the salary. But that's actually not the case. It is important to understand, and this is why the market analysis is really important. So if somebody comes to me and says, I'm making $200,000 a year, but I think I should be making this much. They think that. What we do is we actually go and see what the reality out there is. Should you really be? And sometimes that is the case. Like I have somebody who is working as a senior manager, but if you look at them on paper and you look at everything, when you put it down, they're actually a director. So they need to be coached on how to actually present themselves as a director. They could
Mhm.
be that on paper,
Right.
but now they also need to know how do they present themselves in that light. And so it's important that, people don't think that this is just something where all of a sudden you're going to have a 20-30% increase. It is important for people who are doing this understand that they also need to, they want to do the next, they want to go up a level, and it takes commitment on their side as well to make that actually happen. And the ones that are committed and the ones that want to get to that next level, the results are there to show that they get to that next level because they know where the gaps are, they fill the gaps, and then they get to the results. And that's what I help them do.
So walk us through maybe, in other words, what does a successful client transformation look like from the beginning to the end, like from your intake to the out? Like, what's the process for those who are listening who want to become clients? What's the process look like?
So the process is it's pretty simple. I walk you through sort of that same core curriculum, but it depends on, again, everyone has a different situation, but usually the self-pace is a super simple process. I give you the keys to my digital product, which I've already pre-recorded. So I have 6 modules that are already pre-recorded. It comes with all the templates, the workbooks. I've taught it, I've proven it. I took a group of folks who already did this, and we already tested that, okay, they got jobs, they got opportunities, they got raises, all of that stuff has already happened. So one of the ways to work with me is, simple access into my platform where you get access into my pre-recorded videos, you get access into all the templates, the career roadmap, and you're on your way to results. The other couple of different ways that I also work with clients is that I have one-on-one coaching, which comes alongside with my essential, Fast Track 20 program. But then I have different packages based on different situations. And that's where I do the one on one coaching.
Sounds good. So let's talk about probably business priorities, opportunities. What is Elevate like as Elevate? So as Elevate your career continues growing, what business priority are you mostly focused on improving right now?
So I think from an improving standpoint, I think I've been, I want to be able to offer this to more people. And I've been seeing that there's more of a demand for not
Okay.
just folks that are, maybe looking to go up to the next level. A lot of people kind of confuse me with, oh, are you a job search agency? And the reality is,
Right.
the program that I've built is for people who are already working. It's not for
Yeah.
people who are in that like scramble to look for a job,
For a
because
job.
this just
Yeah.
doesn't fit with them, because there's things that need to happen. Now, has this worked for people who have been laid off, who've been out of jobs? Absolutely. I have clients who, I had a client who was out of a job for almost a year, and as soon as we finished all of this stuff, we had companies like IBM reaching out for 200,000 plus jobs on their own because we positioned her in a way to be found, right? And so, yes, it obviously helps people who are out of the jobs, but it's really built for people who are already working, who are
Okay.
already professionals, who are looking to go to that next level and have time to sort of sit there and say, okay, what's my next step?
So would it be like you want to like improving client intake, like
Yeah, so
getting
I
more
would
leads,
say, I think from what I think I want, yeah, I want to be able to market it to as many more
many
people as
more people?
possible so that they understand what the concept is. And that's why I was saying sometimes the misconception on, oh, are you an agency or a recruiting
Right.
agency or job search firm? It's not quite like that. However, I think I want to get my messaging
To
right
everyone.
in terms of a improvement. I want to get that messaging correct, that look, it can help people who are out of jobs, of course, and it has. It's proven that as well. But it's really kind of made for people who are not in that scramble. It's for people who are already, feeling really stuck in the place that they're in and looking to go to that next level.
Do you operate out of a specific state or the whole USA, or how? Where do
Yeah,
you position yourself?
it's all remote, so I do all of my engagements obviously just through virtually. And so
Virtual
yeah,
engagements.
and it is, I actually do have now clients from other countries like Canada and the
Okay.
UK. And so I keep, the bigger picture is not quite the market that you're in.
Right.
It's really the steps and the process, and the strategy that you're taking to get that next opportunity for yourself.
Let's talk about technology.
So I like to say that I think AI should be looked at not a replacement, but it should be looked at as something that can help enhance what we are already doing. I think for everybody, and I think for myself, it's I use AI in my program. I want to make this process as quick as possible for you. So it's not about not utilizing, it's like utilizing all of the tools and the resources that you have around you to get there faster. So I think it just helps get to the next level. I don't think that AI is going to take away that personal touch, the experience side of things, right? Like people can go and do their job search with the help of AI and ChatGPT, and they're doing that, optimizing their resumes and asking AI questions. That's great. That's great knowledge that you're building. But is ChatGPT really going to be able to tell you the things that I experienced real time in corporate America to say, don't make that left turn, turn right instead? They can't really assess that. And so that piece of it, that personalization and that part is going to be really important. So I actually already have, and I'm really excited about it because this is the first time that a recruiter's ever done something like this with AI. So at least I know that from everything that I told you is in Fast Track 20, everything like pure experience that I really embody in that program. One of the things that I've utilized now to enhance my program and to make things easier for my clients is that I've taken that the resume build out piece, basically the resume, the LinkedIn, the cover letter. I've actually been able to take that and I've used AI agents to be able to position all of that material with my sort of IP, right? So everything that I teach and I believe in, and we sort of train those agents, and now I can optimize anyone's raw material into actual material that you can start applying with within 5 minutes. So it's not a hidden thing, right? AI is going to be that in demand buzzword that you continue to hear. People should be taking it seriously in a sense of things are trending that way. If you're far away from that, you should definitely start looking at how you're going to upskill when it comes to AI and learning it and knowing it and at least knowing how to work with it and some of those things. I think cybersecurity, people tell me all the time, I'm going to go take a cybersecurity course. And I'm like, that's great. Is it because you heard that it was a buzzword? How does it align with your experience and your skills? I think is the more important question. But I do see sort of the trending happening when it comes to, AI and security and cyber, like things that are important in technology that we continue to hear as buzzwords. People should start to listen. If a bunch of people are saying something, you should at least give it some thought and some research would be good. So I have over 10,000 followers on LinkedIn. That's like my main go-to platform. At the end of the day, there's as people keep calling it, it's turning into a Facebook. But for me, it is the place. It is the place where I say, well, at the end of the day, there's so many people on it that you can't ignore it. And so I do have 10,000 followers on LinkedIn. That is my main place to be able to see what I do, what my clients are saying about me, the authority that I have in this space, my recommendations and my featured section. So I would direct you to my LinkedIn page. And then in my bio is my website. You can book a call directly with me where you could do a strategy session where I meet with people and just understand where they are. And if they're the right fit, I direct them to, obviously my program if it's the right fit for them. And if not, then, I'm happy to tell them where else they could go. But essentially, it's really my LinkedIn and my website where you can book a call with me. It's www.elevate-yourcareer.
This episode of the Smart Office Podcast is sponsored by EveryBrain AI. Most businesses are not losing money because they lack good people. They are losing money because too many things still depend on manual follow-up, missed calls, slow response times, and repetitive admin work. That is where EveryBrain AI comes in. We build AI implementation and automation systems that help your business run smarter. From AI receptionists and smart scheduling to lead qualification, workflow automation, client follow-up, and multi-channel lead generation. Imagine having a system that answers inquiries, qualifies prospects, books appointments, follows up automatically, and helps your team focus on the work that actually grows revenue. And the best part, it's done for you. No long-term contracts, no complicated tech headaches. Most systems can be up and running in 5 to 10 days. So whether you want to save time, cut overhead, or generate more qualified leads, EveryBrain AI can help you build the automation layer your business needs. Visit everybrainai.com and book your free strategy call today. EveryBrain AI, we build AI that runs your business.